Okay, so I'm Bill Merkh, and I'm just going to start out because I was told by Steve that I have a podcast voice, so I'm not doing the okay. Yeah.
Good.
No, I'm Bill Merkh.
Please do your normal voice.
Yeah, I'm Bill Merkh. This is a special episode. Pastor Vince has been going through some stuff with his family and all kinds of different stuff. So we have two past guests who are now being co-hosts with me. And then we also have a guest who hasn't appeared yet. So we're excited. So I'm Bill Merkh.
I'm Katrina McDonald.
I'm Steve Entwistle.
And our guest today is
Sami Chandler.
Hey, welcome.
Hi, Sammy.
Oh, you're welcome. We try. So what we're going to do is we are having a fun conversation about Sami because she actually was born and raised in the church. Your parents served in the church, and now you serve in the church. So kind of give us your background, where you came from. Just give us that.
I mean, I have been in this area my whole life. I lived in Cherry Hill up until I got married. I have been involved in this church since as long as I can remember. I am a staff accountant at a tax firm, and a little bit about me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now you met. Did you meet Teddy at church, or did you meet him at school?
No, I actually met him in our youth group.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mm.
So,
Wait, here?
Teddy's
Here.
her husband.
Yes, Teddy is my husband, and we met when we were in youth group together. I was a freshman in high school, and he was a little seventh grader, and I said to myself, he's too annoying, so I'm not going to be friends with him. That's how our relationship started.
Awesome.
Yes.
Actually, I think you said that to us last week. The same thing.
Has anything changed?
I would have never
Sorry.
guessed that.
Sorry,
Never
Teddy.
guessed
No,
that.
no. Love Teddy. Love you, Teddy.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so I really have grown up in this church. I obviously met my husband in this church, and almost all my friends are from this church. So it's been a big impact on my life just being a part of this church body. And it's amazing because not a lot of people have the opportunity to do that. And I also went to a Christian school all the way from K to 12, same school, and I went to a Christian college. So I have been fully immersed in just biblical teaching and just the blessing of being able to have that, because not everybody has the ability to do that, because those types of schools are a little more expensive than just any type of secular school. So it's been a real blessing to be a part not just of this church body, but just of the body of Christ as a whole.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it right there. Man.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are the
Great.
best
In
co-hosts
a
ever.
nutshell, we got to the point.
What school did you go to?
Yeah, I was gonna.
My high school or college or both.
Let's go
But
both.
start high school.
All right, so I went to Baptist Regional School, which actually is no longer.
Right.
And I went there when they were split up between two churches. So Bethel Baptist was the host of the elementary schools, and Haddon Heights Baptist Church was the middle school and high school.
Okay.
So I went there from K to 12, up through the point where Bethel actually dispersed from the school, and Haddon Heights Christian Baptist Church took all of the K to 12 in their building. So I've seen just different transitions regarding that. But after that, I had gone to Cairn University, which is where Pastor Vince obviously went.
Right.
I know he talks about it all the time. I studied there for 5 years. I got my bachelor's and my MBA there. And I think I also got a Bible minor as well because of all the Bible classes that I had to take.
Now you're an accountant.
I am an accountant.
So did you want to be an accountant? Like, was this like, I always wanted to be
We
an accountant?
just talked about this the other day.
Oh, well, then you should ask the question.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Who wants to say to themselves, yes, I want to be an accountant?
But you would say you're very good at it.
I'm very good.
Yeah.
So what happened was I took an accounting class in high school, and I did really well at it. And I was going for business just in general to kind of get my foot in somewhere instead of going in as undetermined. And when I realized that I was decently good at accounting, I decided to major in that. And I then got my master's just in business administration to go along with that. But funny enough, I actually didn't even want to go to Cairn University at first. I actually said, I'm absolutely not going there.
Okay. We need this story. We need this story.
First, I have some tax forms
Oh,
I need you to look at.
Of course, of course.
Now that I know.
You and everybody else.
Yeah. Hope there's not a long line. No, we're past the deadline.
Yeah, you better have gotten an extension.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yes, so I actually didn't want to go to Karen.
Why?
I don't know. It seemed too close to home, I guess, at the moment. And everybody that I had known that like were immediate family and just immediate friends that were here at Emmanuel and whatnot were all going away and they were enjoying their college experience.
Well, Bill said you were born in the church. You weren't born in the church. So where were you born actually? Was it in Cherry Hill?
I was born in Virtual Voorhees. So.
Virtual Voorhees. Okay. All right. So yeah, very grounded in the area.
Yes,
here your whole life.
And...
Did you grow up in the house that your mom is in currently?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were living in Belmar before that, and then we moved over to Cherry Hill when my parents decided to build a house where my grandparents owned some land right next to them.
Right.
So
because you've got two different families right on that property. You've got your mom.
That's cool.
Your grandmother, Miss Franny.
Yes.
I love her. It is a compound. It quite is. And who lives in the Little Red? There's a Little Red farmhouse.
Yes. Too. So on the right side of my mom's house is a Little Red farmhouse.
That was the original house.
That was the original house. My great-grandmother my great-grandfather built it room by room up until the point that it became a 2-story house.
Yeah.
My great-grandmother was living in it until she was unable to. And then my parents moved in there for the time being while the house was being built. And now my uncle and aunt are actually in there. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Man,
that's
so it's
great.
like multi-generational land.
Keeping it in the family.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then rooted here, you know this place, you don't want to go to Karen.
Yeah.
Where did you want to go?
At that time, I was looking at several other schools. I had visited Liberty. I had decided that at that point that it was too big for me.
Okay. Liberty's in Virginia.
Yes, right. Virginia. But the atmosphere was nothing that I was used to. I obviously was in a Christian school my whole life, in a small 30-person class. And
that's quite
thousands and thousands of people at Liberty was a little too much for me. I felt a little bummed by it.
Yeah.
So then I started looking into some places like Cedarville. And I really enjoyed Cedarville and the atmosphere that it brought. However, I didn't like that it was 9 hours away from my house.
Okay.
So I didn't want to be close to my house. But
you just wanted enough room to let your hair down. I get it.
So that was one of my options that I had looked at. And then I had looked at Malone University, which was out in Ohio. Nothing wrong with it. It just didn't feel like it fit me. So then we went over to Grove City because it wasn't very far from there either. And I really actually enjoyed Grove City, and it was only a 4 to 5 hour car ride. So that made it much easier for me to, feel like that is close enough to my home, but still far away. So I had really only applied to Grove City. And then my mom one day was just like, well, there's an open house at Karen today. Do you want to go over there? And I was like, sure, why not? I don't know why we wouldn't just go there. And what got me the most when I got there was I got to sit in a couple of the classes. I sat in some business classes, but I also got to sit into a Bible class. And it was intro to the New Testament, I believe it was. And the professor was Tom Allen, which I know Pastor Vince knows who he is. And he was just teaching, and that class alone was really what sold it for me.
Wow.
Yeah. Just the biblical teachings that he was providing for those that were trying to grow in a Christian school just really, really hit me. And it just washed over me. And I was like, wow, this is the kind of teaching that I want to be around. And that's essentially how I really decided to pick it.
And would you say that because of your upbringing, you were focused on going to a Christian college? That was important for you, not just your parents.
Yes.
That was...
Did you ever go into, were you going into it thinking that you'd like do a year of Bible and then go on to something else? Or were you just thinking, no, this is the college I'm going to and I'm going all 4 years or more?
No, I was thinking along the lines of going all 4 years, but it was one of those things where you had to take a certain amount of Bible classes. So throughout the 4 years, they had interspersed several Bible classes based off the level of intricacies they were. And that's how I got the Bible minor, because I had enough credits for that.
Okay.
So it was kind of like another incentive for me, whereas some of these other colleges weren't not necessarily forcing you, but they were not making it mandatory. And I thought it was good for me to learn more about the Bible. So I feel like making me have to take these classes allowed me to grow so much more than I think that some people just pick and choose some of their classes.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That does make sense.
Yeah. And I learned so much there. It was great. I had no idea what apologetics was, honestly. And then I had a full class on it, and I was like, wow, this is like some deep theology that I've never had the opportunity of learning about. And so it was all over a neat experience.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you were dating Teddy when you went to Cairn, or were you not?
Yes.
Oh,
We
no.
were dating at that point. We had dated. So we started dating essentially when I left after college, because we weren't allowed to date in high school. So we
Let's get more into that.
Wait.
No.
You weren't allowed to date in high school? Yeah. While you were in high school, you weren't allowed to date.
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
Like Teddy's parents were a little more strict than mine was.
Okay.
Because he was 2 years younger than me.
Right.
So they just didn't want him to get into anything that possibly might not come to fruition after the fact.
Sure.
But like we had liked each other for about 2 years when I was in high school. So it was like we like hung out, but like we never went on dates.
Did he go to Cairn?
He did not go to Cairn, no.
Oh,
So we did long distance while he was still in high school, and then when he went to Stockton.
oh, stop it. I knew
Yeah,
that.
stop.
That was a bad job. I apologize. I actually knew that.
Well, I didn't. So
I didn't.
Well, there you
No, I
go.
know.
Yeah.
He wore the shirt over your house.
I
the other
saw
night.
it, but I wear shirts from places I've never been to. So.
Really? Okay, let's go with places you've never been. Shirts. Go.
Harvard.
You have a Harvard t-shirt?
Yeah, I had.
You had a Harvard
Yeah,
t-shirt?
I don't know why. It's in my
You-
stuff.
Because
You
they
just-
sold them at Target for like 5
No.
years and everybody had one.
Well, I mean, most of the ones say college, from
Yeah, right.
Well,
I've never been to
yeah.
college. No, I'm just,
from Amazon.
I just never graduated.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I have a sweatshirt that says Notre Dame.
And I've
There-
been to
there you
Notre
go.
Never
Dame.
been there.
There you go.
So we're going to have a
thing.
podcast
It's a thing.
called Places We've
a
Never
thing.
Been, but Things We Own. I'm wearing
Man,
a
have you ever heard
California
of a
shirt,
hand-me-down?
but
California.
I got
Oh.
this in California.
Of course you did.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
when I was kayaking with Lisa, my wife. So Lisa and I went kayaking, and it was one of the biggest trials in our marriage ever.
Was it?
Oh, we did not get along on that kayak. Neither of us
Is
had
that
ever
the one where you
two-person
each had to
kayak.
Yeah,
order?
see, that's the thing.
Yeah, and we had
Okay.
neither one.
Coordination.
Ah.
It'll always
And-
So you
get
had to communicate.
and it-
You were on one.
We were on one,
On
and
one.
we were going into the caves of La Jolla.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so they have all the sea lions or whatever. It's near San Diego.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you
absolutely.
it stank. It smelled so bad because those sea lions smelled so bad. But
Ugh.
we're getting so angry at each other and just trying to, just hold in. And we're going over tiger sharks. And, the guy just like, we're going over tiger sharks right now. And I'm like, if I use this paddle and just a little bump in the head, all my problems go away at this very second.
She was probably thinking the same thing.
Same.
Oh,
So-
she kept rocking it,
Just to
trying to
turn
get me
around.
over.
Did she?
No. I'm
I
just
wouldn't
saying.
think that for a second.
No,
Lisa.
she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I just, there we go. So there's places I've been that has nothing to do with Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I recommend it highly,
Well,
especially the
Bill is going to
conference.
grill you if you have any memorabilia from California now.
Okay.
Until you,
Yeah, if I
Yeah.
see anything on your shirts
yes,
that say California, I'll be like,
poser.
For that.
really?
Yeah.
You should.
Next week.
Okay, so let's get back into you being at the church.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Katrina.
It was a
Love you here. Thank you.
Hey.
You're the best.
Hey.
So, anyway, so you're growing up. You go to Cairn, or you're. I mean, I knew you, so I'm not gonna act like. And
Mhm.
you're who now? So, were you always involved? Like I don't know, like VBS. Were you helping
Yeah.
out with that?
What was your life here as a
Here
youth?
at
Yeah,
Emmanuel?
as a
Yeah.
What was
youth.
your life as a youth?
Yeah.
street youths.
I would want to say that I was your typical Christian child, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't not the greatest person, obviously. We all make mistakes, but it was interesting that I grew up in a way that both my parents had served heavily in the church.
Right.
And I was always around the church when it came to that because they would always bring us when they were in need of volunteering. And so I, from a young age, was taught the importance of what church was and why we go to church and how it is more important for us to be at church than maybe doing other things on a Sunday morning, and why we serve in the ministries that we do in the church. And so from the very beginning, I was very impacted by those mentalities, and it allowed me to help shape my way of thinking of what the church is and what my obedience to the Lord is in regards to ministry. And so seeing how my parents wholeheartedly served the church in any way, shape, or form was just a great example for me to be able to determine in my adult life what that should look like. And so I was there for many different volunteer portions. Like I work VBS. I used to help at AB team since I was probably in middle school.
What's the age gap between you and Max?
4 years.
So
Okay.
Max is your brother.
Yep.
A lot of people listening don't know who are brothers,
Max
and
Million.
he's involved and sings. And,
If you know IBC, you know Max, right?
right. But if you don't know IBC, you don't. So we'll go with Kathleen. Kathleen is the administrator at the church, but she also does so much more. It's not just
she volunteers for every event pretty much that's around here, not just because it's her job, but because she has the desire to do it. And so I oftentimes would come around with her, and I got to get involved in other things like women's breakfast and BBS. And while I wasn't a part of the young married couple events, I was always there beforehand, getting to see just the hard work that they took to get all these events in for the church people and the body of Christ. And so I had learned, like which types of ministries worked for me, and it allowed me to kind of almost see every aspect of ministry because they were so involved in so many of them, and it allowed me now to kind of figure out where my niche is almost.
You've also had the opportunity to go on missions trips too, which is pretty unique.
How many missions trips did you go on?
I want to say 7.
That's too many.
Perfect number.
Yeah.
I had been going since I was a senior in high school. So 2014 up until 2019 when we went to Poland.
Okay.
So yeah, I had done every single one from then until now.
Wow.
So I want to bring up one of my all-time favorite people of all time. Like literally it goes on my Mount Rushmore. Your father, Bruce. He helped me in so many ways in the church. Anytime I put on any event, he was the guy giving me how to do what I wanted to do.
Yep.
I would go to him and be like, I want lasers and smoke. And he's like, okay, well, first it's fog. Not going to be using smoke in the church. Let's just get that clear. And then, okay, you want to do lasers? And then we would come up at church, fog out the building, and shoot lasers like throughout it. Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I want to light over here. And he'd be like, okay, let's do this. He could do anything, say any. I can't say enough. And the one thing I can say is that he raised 2 amazing kids. I know your mother did too. I'm not saying she did.
Miss KK played a part, didn't she?
Yes. So I'm saying that they did a great job with you and Max, and you continue to get me. So there you go. So there's my serious part of this, and just saying, he was awesome. So
what do you? Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
No, it's all right.
No, go ahead.
What? Well, what? What is your what lasting memory would you say if you could? It's hard to summarize a memory of lifetime with your dad, right? But what are some highlights? Could you?
Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, obviously he was my biggest fan for my whole life. I mean, I was definitely a daddy's girl, and he was definitely a girl dad. So I was the one that was probably the most similar to him in just our minds and just how we thought things through.
Mhm.
So whenever he like was thinking something, he would voice it to me and I'd be like, I'm thinking the same exact
Mm.
thing.
Oh, that's neat.
So one of those memories with him is just the fact that we were able to communicate almost without even having to speak to each other. And that was something that I truly do miss sometimes, because I think things and I'm like, I look next to me and I'm like, there's nobody there that can also do the same thing as what I'm thinking about right now. But that is just kind of an overall example. But I oftentimes think about the times that we had during COVID to really just bond over, AV together. I was never really, it never was like something that I was interested in until he started showing it to me. And then when COVID happened, it was really when I started legitimately learning how to do some of that stuff. And it was a nice bonding time that we got to have when we came up here every Sunday, and we got to work side by side, and he could teach me, this is what this does, this is what the faders do, this is how you add gain, and so on and so forth. So stuff like that is memories that I forever will remember. And obviously, not many people know this, he actually passed away 3 months after I had gotten married. And so the last memory that I truly did have of him was from my wedding. And he didn't even get to see the pictures from my wedding before he had passed. So continuously looking at those pictures and looking through the videos that were given to me about, when he made his speech or when he was dancing with me, those are the memories that I think of the most, because one, they were the last ones, but also they're just the most prominent ones that I can always see in my head. And his laughter is one of the things that I miss the most. And we have a video of him actually laughing, and I was like, thank you, God, for allowing me to still have something to be able to hear his laughter again.
Yeah.
So,
Set that as your text.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah. Which is cool because, we didn't get into it, but you're the AV director at the church 90% of the time.
I'm a small part of the AV director team.
Okay.
I would say there's a couple of us.
I'll give you that. You're the only one. The only one. Now, so I'm a part of the team. I'm the camera guy most of the time. Having you up there is a blessing just because you do know so much about everything except cameras. But other than that, like if when people are watching the church service live stream, there's times where it's minutes and we all of a sudden realize, we're not going to go live. Like this isn't going to be live streamed. And Sammy's the one that her and Matt and Nate. Yeah. You watch the three of them, it's wizards.
They just get done.
Boom, 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 and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're good. And now
you have a cool head.
Yeah, cool.
Just, okay, I know we need to fix this thing.
If it doesn't work, then I have to just say we adapt. And sometimes that does happen, but we can't let the anger of something not working get into our heads, because then it just ruins a lot more. And so it's like, I try to maintain a cool head in those situations because I know that there's solutions out there. I just got to find which one it actually is.
It's probably why you're doing this. Like a puzzle, an equation.
I have a very mathematical mind, and solving puzzles is something that I'm really good at. And I feel like that is kind of what we do as an AV team, is just figuring out problems and finding blends and just, solving not the whole world's problems, but at least the church's problems.
Yeah. And honestly, that, when things go awry, it's very noticeable. You can't really hide when something goes wrong. And so for you to be able to kind of handle that, as well as the other team members, of course, it's like, that's a huge deal, because people do rely on the sound, and rely on visuals because for various reasons. So it's a blessing that we even have it, but then to maintain it, fix it in a problem, in a pinch, and then to make it better over time, it's really great, so.
I mean, God gave me the gift of being able to do that, so why not use it to the best of my ability?
Yeah.
Like, find my niche that I can actually use my gifts and blessings that God had given me.
Well,
we certainly did.
Sure.
Yeah.
and you also do the AV for the VBS with all those kids. You're up there, you're doing the words, you're doing everything.
I do a lot of the children's events whenever they're in need of sound.
So
Yeah. And
up there a lot.
it's not just sound, it's also video. And I watch you bounce around and I sometimes come up to annoy you. And
Total distraction.
Oh, I am the
A little.
worst. Yeah. Yeah. But
While we're here, can you stop doing
So
this?
if anything goes wrong, we know that it's
Since
Bill's
we're on the
fault.
Oh, 100% it's Bill's
Absolutely
fault.
Bill's
Yeah.
Automatic.
Yeah, even if I'm not there, it's fine.
Just text him.
And-
It's your fault.
But what I'm going to talk about with cooler heads is it is 158 degrees in this room. We are sweating. If you can watch us on YouTube right now, there is sweat. This is a sauna. So
it's not cool. It is not a cool
there
room
is
right
no
now.
cooler heads
No.
in this room. So what we're going to say is we're going to take a break right now. We will be right back. But stay tuned. We got some fun stuff we're going to talk about. But while you're listening to the Welcome to Emmanuel Baptist Church, I want you to follow, subscribe, and do all that stuff. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Emmanuel Baptist Church, where our focus has been building strong lives in Jesus Christ since 1925, right here in Maple Shade, New Jersey. With 2 Sunday services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., you can choose the time that works best for you. And if you have children, our Greenhouse Kids Ministry and Nursery are available during the 11 a.m. service, so you can worship without distractions. But that's not all. On Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., we offer Sunday school classes for all ages. And if you're looking for a midweek pick-me-up, we have a variety of events on Wednesday nights. For more information on all of our programs and events, visit our website at ibclife.org. Follow us on social media and check out our weekly bulletin. And there's one more way to stay connected with us. Download our Church Center app. With this convenient app, you can stay up to date on all of our events and register for programs. Emmanuel Baptist Church, building strong lives in Jesus Christ.
So, take it away, Steve. Why don't you start with you got the hard hitting questions, and
I mean, a little bit harder than I thought, but
this is gonna be exciting.
no,
Yeah.
just the thought occurred to me before when we were talking. Katrina had asked Sami about her dad and just lasting memories, things like that. The thought occurred to me is I'm wondering if there was any kind of principle or moral compass or guiding light that your dad left you with, or made an impression on that you think about or just have applied to your life. And I was just wondering about that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's probably many that I can't necessarily think off on the top of my head, but I know for certain one would be just the fact that he was a patient person, and the fact that he instilled in me to kind of almost allow me to figure out a way to let things roll off my back, essentially. He was very much the person that if somebody didn't like him or they said something mean to him, he would not let it affect him at all. He kept doing what he was supposed to be doing in ministry, in his life, in his work, and he just did everything still to the best of his ability. And it helps me, especially for somebody who's kind of more on the anxious side, to have a reminder of the fact that I sometimes need to let things roll off my back. I can't let everything offend me, because sometimes it's not meant to be offensive. And so he had instilled in me just the ability to just say, hey, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect you. It's not going to affect your relationship with this person, that person, the other person. And it's not going to hurt the family. So let things go and move on and still find a way to do everything in love and to the best of your ability. And I think that is something that I always try to remind myself of when I get frustrated when AV stuff doesn't work, or when I get frustrated that, I didn't do well at work one day or whatever. And it's just one of those things that I try to continually remind myself of, because he was so patient and nothing really fazed him in that way. And he still went on loving those people and caring about those people and just being kind-hearted to them. Just showing the love of Christ to those that might not even have it. So I think that was just something that really kept me going, just making sure that I still love and I still care and I am still kind, even to those that might not be kind towards me.
So I just want to get angry and just say, somebody didn't like your dad? What is wrong with people? I'm sorry.
I agree.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what a punk.
That was a good example of fruit of the spirit. So there you go. Right? Like just sitting here thinking like, man, all the time. So you're like letting things roll off your back. And I'm like, yep, that's not happening.
It doesn't happen always, but if I can do it a little more than what I usually do it, then I call it a win.
That's the point, right? So like, our parents are, facilitators in our life, and they love us and care for us, and they teach us the things that we need to know, for better, for worse, right? Good, bad. But like having even just that quality where you've taken that now into your adult life and will continue to take that into the rest of your life, like that's literally a lasting principle that you can literally look back at your parent and say, yep, that was my parent, or parents, both of them, and be able to apply that to your life in practical means. And that's like parenting.
Yeah, that's
I don't
priceless.
know, like to the max.
Another example too, so I'll keep
my God.
But I know that a lot of Christians, at least my age, we always struggle with trying to talk to non-believers in atmospheres that are not necessarily like a Christian atmosphere.
Sure.
So he was one that did not care if everybody knew that he was a believer. He would shout it from the rooftops. He would constantly invite people from work to come to our church events. He was just never scared of what people thought of him for being a believer. And I know that can be scary sometimes for some of us to try and open up like that. And it was nice to see somebody who just showed the love of Christ without a care that he might find judgment in those that don't believe. And it's a good encouragement to remind myself that that's okay. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's for a purpose, and it's for building the kingdom of God, and just seeing that in him and seeing him just openly share his faith with anybody that would talk to him.
It's literally the last thing Satan wants us to do is be bold.
Exactly.
Right.
He was one of the boldest, and not to say he knew everything about the Bible, because there's a lot to learn, but I mean, he had the knowledge to be able to give basics, to tell them kind of how his testimony shaped his life and how they could also have the love of God and the salvation of God. And it was just an amazing thing to see him do, especially like with his work people. That's usually where I would see it in. And it was just neat. It was neat to see some of them actually come out to some of our events. And even though it might have been just a car show, an annual Father's Day car show, they came, they sat in church, they brought their vehicles because they had classic cars. And
that's something that your dad was into.
He had them surrounded by the body of Christ, even though we weren't all just preaching at them. We were just finding community with them and showing them our love and the love of Christ just through fellowship.
Right.
Common interests. Yeah.
Couldn't they also host a party? Was it a New Year's Eve party?
Yeah.
Or because I went once, and it was awesome.
They're quite known.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would invite them to that as well. But he was just always willing to open the doors for those that were looking for something.
It's amazing.
You've been to the New Year's Eve party?
Yeah.
I didn't see you when I was sitting in my chair in the back. You didn't come say hi.
You were probably downstairs playing Rock Band.
No. I would just always come down, check in on you guys, but then I go back and sit in my chair,
play a song,
yeah.
dip out.
I can't play Rock Band. I'm terrible. I have no musician over here. I can't do anything. That's why I do the cameras. Not very well. That's why we got one camera just facing us. Like, I'm terrible with cameras.
That's true.
No, you do a pretty good job on the stream.
Yeah.
It's engaging.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let's.
You cover the angles, but
I mess up all the time. Anyway, this isn't about me. Nobody cares about me. We just lost 3 more viewers. Oh man.
It's Bill's fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That should be the
That'll
title
be a
of this.
shirt. That'll be a
That-
shirt I wear.
that-
You would wear
That's
that
the
shirt?
new, yeah.
California.
Yeah.
Bill's fault.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Full
Look
circle.
at you. You guys are learning the comedy chops.
Yeah.
I like it.
So back to you in your youth. Would you say, so Emmanuel is the only church you've attended since the beginning?
Yes, except for the times that I was in college. I
Okay.
was going to a
Well,
church.
sure.
Yeah.
But yes, essentially.
Essentially, I have been at Emmanuel from as long as I can remember to
Mhm.
the present day. Yes.
Have the relationships that you started in the youth age carried into adulthood?
I would say most of them have, yes.
Mhm.
And even some I've grown in adulthood of those that were with me in youth group that I wasn't really
Mhm.
friendly with or I was just an acquaintance with.
Sure.
And now in adulthood, we've become great friends. So I feel like I've had the experience of both having very young friendships that have lasted the years, but also new ones that I never thought had the potential when I was in my youth to when we became adults.
Mm.
So it's
But you're missing one other category. You're missing people that knew you as a baby or the little toddler or whatever.
sorry, Bill. And
No, I never held you. I never held you, but again, I knew her. I mean,
Well, how long have you been going to Emmanuel?
since 2000. So
Wow.
and now we're friends. Still friends with your mother. Still loved your father, and still with your. But so it's funny because like my wife Lisa, she it was friends with younger people, and I was friends with the older, and we weren't in that same clique, if you will.
Okay.
So like I was friends with your father-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
She would be more friends with your husband, like that age.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then so she was friends with Sammy and Max. I'm friends with their parents. So
That makes sense.
now we've got
Yeah.
everybody catered. Yeah, I got them
It's
all.
all in.
I'm friends with everybody except nobody's friends. Anyway, God, you're just a Southern girl.
You think you're friends with everybody.
Yeah. I try.
Right.
I try to be friends. with
Yeah.
everybody. No, I don't.
So, me having three small children, the effort that your parents went through to make sure that you were at your events, you were on Wednesday night, you were there on Sunday, any special time, would you tell parents today to put forth that effort to keep your child with a similar childhood as what you had?
yes, I think it was very beneficial that they instilled that importance at a young age with us, to allow us to know why it was important and the fact that they were constantly pursuing us to go and do that in the church and learn and grow and do all the Sunday schools, do all the children's churches. It just showed me as a younger child just what we valued as a family. And I think making sure that the family as a unit values church in the way that it should be and the way that the Bible is being taught is very impactful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it works for everybody, but in the sense that they were constantly creating importance and impactment in me, it therefore created more desire for me to want to learn myself. So that's why essentially I had chosen a Bible college because I did want to learn more. I wanted to grow more because I knew the importance of what the Bible does and applies and teaches me. And it had instilled that desire and passion
Sure.
in me as an adult.
Right.
And so when I see like you bringing your kids all week
Mhm.
in every event, and you, Steve, as well, bringing your kids to church, bringing your kids to Discover Kids, bringing your kids to Sunday schools, children's choir, VBS, like
Story time.
story time. It shows that you are making an effort for your children to show them why you desire God and why you desire the church and why you find it the importance of maintaining a relationship with the church, with Christ, and with your family. I think that is so beneficial.
Mhm.
And an example that I would love to give is when we were doing the Living Last Supper for Good Friday. Vince was up on the stage doing it, and I know Grayson was there with him, and he was sitting with Greta and Natalie.
Right.
And we were doing a communion time at the end of it. And I was watching as Greta had brought Grayson up to do, to come with her. And I watched Vince's face of just the pride that he had seeing his son take communion and understand what the purpose of communion was at a young age. And the pride that I was seeing in Vince was so impactful to me, because I'm like, yes, that is what parents should be feeling, and how you've instilled that in Grayson to learn and understand the meaning of it, and Grayson actually comprehending it, and you being able to see the fruits of your labor in a simple action as that.
Right.
And I was only watching Vince at that point because I felt for him and how he was feeling Grayson just doing something for the first time, and just seeing the pride of how he's teaching his son. Just the importance.
Yes, when he got home, he said that Grayson had asked to be a part of communion, and of course he had to explain what it was he was doing, and he did. He was very proud of himself, and so that was a moment for us as a family. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I think it's cool too, because we have young kids. They're just starting out in their walk with Christ, or have yet to get to it.
Right.
And so we're kind of still looking and praying and guiding and hoping. Right? And honestly, the cool thing for me too is coming here is Bill and Violet and Ethan, who really support, the effort that you put forth, and now have even kind of created their own place, right? Like Violet, I think it's great whenever I see her, because she's helping out whenever she's asked, she's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And she's great at it. Ethan, he's faithful to the max, always up there playing drums, and for the right reason. And that's quite honestly what
that's
you'd hope for.
Yeah, that's best case scenario situation. So good job.
Yeah, thank you.
But the cool thing is too is even him now is influencing Keith, and Keith goes up to him, asks him, "What does this do? What's that do? Why are you doing that?" And Ethan has even expressed to me "Oh, me and Keith get along. I see myself in him. And he's taking on this mentor, approach, and I'm just warms the heart, because I'm just that is literally the multi-generational goal in church.
One of my highlights is when Ethan became a member. He became a member with Max, your brother.
That's cool.
Same day.
Yeah.
Funniest part about that was they were the two people being member into membership. Being membered. They were being membered that day. And they got down, and Vince put the sword on their shoulders.
Yep.
That's how you get membered.
Yep.
And but they were the two. Whatever. You guys are awful. Where's Vince?
Sorry, buddy.
I miss Vince interrupting me rather than you guys. I don't need you guys. Anyway, Vince.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's okay. Ethan came out from the drum kit, and Max was one of the singers that day. And Vince is come up onto the stage, and they were
right, we're already here.
Here we are. We're already serving.
Ethan's let me just crawl out of the cage.
I'm going to crawl out of the cage, and Max is do you want me to use my microphone? I've already been singing. How are we doing this?
Yeah.
And so that was a cool thing.
Both serving,
right.
both wanting to serve,
and then proclaiming that they want, and committing that they want to continue to serve.
To be membered.
Yes. That should be on the certificates moving forward.
Yeah.
You've been membered into the church.
Membered?
Yeah. Just a thing float out there to people.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That was funny.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for showing up, Bill.
Yeah. So I do have a real quick question.
No, you don't have to have a quick question.
Probably.
We got a couple more minutes. No.
We're talking about kind of your history, where you started, how you've been raised, college career, now you're married. And I'm just kind of like wondering what your vision is for, say, the next 5 years. What do you and Teddy talk about? What are you hoping for? You know, what's kind of in your path that you are praying for?
It's another relatively close topic we talked about. We did.
Oh, so then you're already queued up. You've already got an answer.
I'll continue. I want to hear more about it.
I mean, obviously, I'm at an age where you have to start considering, you know, where our next steps are. And obviously, with us just purchasing a new house, like that's kind of the first big step to adulting, essentially.
And let's clap for the new house. That was we're happy.
Deal.
That is a good deal.
We're happy you guys are in a house. Go.
Yeah. So like now, like we've established one portion of that adult picture, as you would call it. And so, you know, as we move on to the next 5 years, obviously, I would hope, Lord willing, I would be able to start establishing a family and being able to raise my kids in this church and just show what my parents have instilled in me, in my children.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that's a big part of what my next steps are, just because I feel like at this point in my life, my role is to establish family and establish a home and be fruitful and multiply, the Lord says. So it's something that obviously we can't ever predict, but if God allows that to happen in our lives, I think that is a big thing that would be occurring in the next 5 years. Now, we still also have to kind of establish just careers in general, because obviously we've only really been in our careers for, let's say, I've been in my career from 2019 to now, so maybe 6 or 7 years.
This is great. So she is an accountant.
I'm not good at mental math, I'll tell you.
So that's
what year are we?
yeah, there you go.
You're still one of the smartest people I know.
Yeah.
I had a math teacher at Baptist High when I went there. It wasn't Baptist Regional, it was still Baptist High. The math teacher said, "Do you think you're going to be carrying around a calculator in your pocket for the rest of your life?"
And now we have phones.
And now,
unbelievable.
every single thing.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, I can tell you what the square root of 9,998 billion is. I can do anything I want on this
on
phone.
my pocket calculator.
Yeah. I can tell you what's happening in the next.
He pulls out a
room.
graphing calculator. My God.
Yes, that's right. So,
But anyway.
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's been so many years, and I feel like we haven't fully established what our careers want to be, and where we head with that, especially along with if there's a family involved. So those are kind of next steps in my future of what, you know, is to come, obviously. But I always say I want to continue just ministering and being a servant for the Lord in the church. So I find that once I get older and wiser and more mature, I would say, and help
Bill.
more.
You knew it was coming.
Away,
You knew it was coming.
take away the wiser.
And just with more life experience, I will see myself taking on more roles, I think, in different ministries that I might not have wanted to take at this stage of my life. So I see myself but increasing the different types of ministries that I am capable of using my abilities for. So that's kind of...
I'm basically saying that you're open to what God has for you and you're willing to kind of follow what he has planned for you, even though you don't know what it is, but you're willing to try, willing to do. And, you know, I think that's all God ever asks for. So that's pretty great. I also noticed you didn't have the picket fence out in front of the house. So that should be part of the 5-year plan. Just saying.
Really?
Sure.
So let's talk about
You can't guarantee it'll be straight.
Easy job.
Let's talk about your picket fence. You don't have one.
It's like town ordinance. I'm not allowed to.
You're not allowed to have a fence?
No, I'm
I
sure
have
I am.
all kinds
I've
of
never,
ordinances
I've never
about
asked.
my fences.
Really?
So,
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it's stupid.
yeah.
But nobody cares about fences. But we all care about
true.
Sammy.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Thank you so much for coming. I hope this wasn't as painful as you thought it was. Oh,
It's much easier with all of you.
the best. But You know who else is the best is our listeners who follow and subscribe. There's other people
Absolutely.
that don't. We don't care about them. We care about our followers.
Well,
our
they're probably not here
subscribers.
because every listener should be a subscriber.
I would
And
think
get
they would. It's
notifications.
the easiest thing.
hmm
Please do it.
Yeah.
Guys, no, I'm just kidding.
Bill, don't beg.
Yeah, it's not
it's
becoming.
not becoming.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to Steve, Katrina,
Yeah.
to Sammy. I'm sure you'll see these people again. And we look forward to seeing you again, and we'll be back. No, this is the end of it. We're not going to be back. We'll see you next time.